Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on leechess.org and I'm ready to play a 15-2 game. Let's try d4. Alright. Let's see what we get. Slav, e6, a capture. A Slav. Well, let's go boring with this one. I don't know how many times I've played this variation in Standard. This may be a first. And we're just going to make sure this guy is outside the pawn chain. So we're going to try to squeeze some advantage from this. I don't think it's so bad. e3, and just covered d4. And standard moves. The knight's coming out, but I do want to delay my king-knight. I don't want to see a quick pin. So, will black try to deploy the queen-bishop outside of the pawn chain, just as I have? Is a big question. The bad bishops are the queen bishops in this case. Okay. I'll go with the knight first. Maybe eyeing up this idea. Knight b5 into c7. It's not quite there because of queen to a5. a6 is a pretty typical move to watch over b5 and also preparation for an expansion on the queen side. This is usually the side of the board where the play will come about. There's not too much excitement on the queen side. Pretty symmetrical. So, there'll be a fight for the c-file and sometimes knights jumping into c4, c5 squares. So let's see. Moves I'm considering. Rook to c1, bishop to d3, knight to f3. Which one to go with? I'm still going to stay a little bit flexible with my kingside minor pieces. Also, here's another thing. If I played bishop here straight away, knight to b4, and I guess I could return to e2, but on my next move, bishop d3, knight to b4 is conveniently met then with bishop to b1. And my bishop is not blocking in my rook. He's where he wants to be right now. You'll see that in some positions. One that's coming to mind is a variation out of the Caro-Kann-Panov-Botvinnik attack. Basically, deploying the queen-rook prior to the king-bishop, so that you have that convenient retreat. So, let's see what Chesserie comes up with. Ooh, alright. So, in the end, opting for a fianchetto. I'm not used to seeing that. Bishop to f5 and bishop to g4 were coming to mind. So, many times I feel that the bishop on g7 can just be out of play. Unless an e5 strike can get in and d4 can be struck at, he's kind of biting at a rock. Okay, well, I know where the dark square bishop's going. So one of these two, or maybe even h3, is what's running through my mind right now. Not sure what the differences are. You know what? I'm going to make one more prep move. I'm delaying the kingside minor pieces once more, but I'm doing this to make sure there's not going to be this type of an imbalance. And now that There's no fear of bishop g4. The knight definitely belongs here. Knight to e5. And probably bishop here. No need to play to e2. There's not going to be some kind of pin. Now what could happen is that black still tries to get the bishop outside the pawn chain, so I don't think doubled f pawns would be such an issue. I may have an idea connected with, if they do decide bishop f5 takes, I do have an idea for g4. This is something that springs about once more, second time I'm referencing this opening, but the Caro-Kann exchange variation. You'll see this idea where black tries to get their bishop outside the pawn chain, playing bishop to f5. And one of the benefits of having doubled f pawns is it increases black's control over e4. So I'll be having to work around a knight on e4 if that comes about, but maybe there's a way I could get at the king. I haven't committed my king just yet, so that's why an idea like this with a capture and then g4 is has some points to it. I can't go queenside, but I guess I could stick around in the center a little bit. So here, takes, push, chop, chop, chop is probably way too risky for black. That knight is unprotected, and I don't know, stuff like knight to g5 or knight to e5 are coming to mind with a discovered attack. I'm not sure if I'll pull the trigger on that, to be honest. The capture and then g4. What would I do on bishop to f5? What are my options? I could always ignore it. Just throw my knight in the center or something. Castle. We'll see. They're probably weighing this move. b5, not so much, because I have some tactics against c6. So if not bishop to f5, then what? e6? I'd be happy to see that. I'm thinking they'll play bishop to f5, so what am I think that's the strongest move. So what's my reply going to be? Capture or castle? I don't know. Chop, chop. Okay, so oh, here's another thing. They may be delaying bishop f5, wanting me to first castle. Then I'm less likely to go forward with the capture in g4. Okay. Well, they're preparing e5. This is also, again, maybe a waiting move for the bishop f5 idea. I think I should just get castled. So much for this kind of stuff anymore. Very solid for both sides. I'm just a move away from connecting rooks. They're 2 moves out. Very minor points. They're not quite adding up to be anything significant at this point. They can't try for this just yet, supporting e5, because d5 would be unprotected. Okay, so they're really trying to push through with e5, so they're going to get that. Let's back up. That was the point of h3. So they're really gunning for this move, so to be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing this. This is a desirable structural transformation. If they end up with an isolated d pawn, this I feel pretty good about. And that's basically what's going to happen. I can't allow this, so let's start with breaking up their pawn duo, and we'll probably have 2 sets of minors off. And in the end, I want my knight here. Yeah, I probably just want to go forward with capturing twice on e5. It's kind of double checking. I guess this is something to consider. This actually might not be a bad move. This might be a best move. Something that's keeping me from just chopping away on the e5 square is that in the end the rook is on e5, and I would like to really quick get my knight into d4, but what concerns me at least a little bit is like some major piece arriving on g5 and then some capture on h3 though. I wouldn't have to fear queen g5 because I would have f4 with the fork. Rook here, it's a bit clumsy looking. But I also feel that bishop to e2 is just really strong. Because, wait a second, I may be winning a pawn with this retreating move. Huh. Why do I say this? Well, bishop to e2, I'm hitting at d5 twice. How'd they defend? If they capture first, I recapture, and now I'm hitting it what would be a third time. And it's only defended once, so it's going down. Moreover, a bishop now on the e2 square is striking at this knight on h5. Okay, so these are the two moves I'm considering. I think actually bishop e2 is good. Threat to win a pawn, and also the threat to take here and then take here twice. What am I missing? Oh. Bishop e2. Suppose they take, and maybe d4, but I could take. Take here. I'm ready to take twice on this square and completely destroy their kingside structure. I don't know. I think it's the best. Let's go with it. Bishop to e2. So now, what are they going to do here? They can't just go away with their knight, because e5's then a goner. Oh, you know what they could play? You know what I missed here? They have knight to c4. Maybe. Knight c4, I could give him a boot. Knight b2, he's probably going to get hunted down. So knight c4, b3, the knight would have to go here, and then I'm winning this next. Any variations connected with the bishop giving itself up for the knight, just to prevent me from maybe winning the d5 pawn in some way, is definitely not, he's probably worth 4 points, so he's just super, super valuable. Queen's still on. If the queens are still on and you're giving up this key kingside defender, your opponent still has a dark square bishop on top of it all. That's really the main thing. You're giving up your dark square bishop, your opponent still has a dark square bishop. This bishop for knight imbalance, bishop for knight exchange, and your opponent still has a dark square bishop. You're really asking for trouble. May not be apparent straight away how white could maybe take advantage of this, but this is just a long-term feature, something to really shy away from. So I guess we've played before. Probably bullet. Really? Oh, okay. No, we have played a 15-2 game. Wasn't recalling. That's going a while back. Okay. Forget what kind of opening that was. So they are in the think tank here. And what to do? I'm having a difficult time suggesting a move for black. I have a quart grip on the king side. This structure here has a name, and that is it. I control these 4 squares. Very solid, compact structure. no significant gaps on the king side of the board here. White's king side. Could identify two gaps on black's king side, two holes. Yeah, what more can we say with this core grip? There are no holes with this configuration. At any moment, I said all of these are controlled, but these four squares, but there's also these two directly, and these guys can always step up and control these two. Anyhow, that's a term I came across from it's used in the book Pawn Power in Chess. Not a book that I've gone through in its entirety, but I've checked out some of it. That was one of the terms. Yeah, so the delay here is saying something about the position. There's something has gone wrong here. This idea with trying for e5 is really not working. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Had games like that thinking I'm going to be winning a pawn or a piece, and then, yeah, it doesn't quite turn out that way. I miss a little detail. I don't know, I don't think I'm missing a detail here, though. Under the 5-minute mark. It really does feel like I'm going to win a pawn. I'm not behind in development in any way. So I'm not sure how black will maybe try to show some compensation for maybe being down a pawn soon. Maybe takes knight f5, knight f6, and then I could take here, they could take here. Okay, they're going in for knight to c4. So with this I had in mind simply b3. Oh, b3, they don't have to go here. b3, they're going to go here. That's a little bit awkward, but they're not going to be losing a pawn. But I have some other things to consider. For example, if I capture here and they recapture the queen, I get to take with my knight and I'm hitting everything. Hitting c4 and on top of it threatening a fork on c7. So on this, I think the reply will be knight takes b4. I'm almost certain that this is winning for white. Not just the win of a pawn, but there's some way to just flat out win right about now. So this is also appealing straight away, going in for knight to d5. That's probably the backbreaker. Yeah, because now I'm hitting the knight twice and threatening this. So knight takes d5. He's just an absolute monster in the center, connected well with this guy. Knight takes d5. Knight takes b2. And I just need to find a spot for my queen. Knight takes d5, knight takes b2. The knight is defended in that position. Knight takes d5, knight takes b2. Queen to b3 is what I was thinking. But then there's bishop to e6. Okay, well. What to do here? I could always just give him a shove, but I think I want to pick up the d5 pawn right now. b3 here. Do I have anything good from that position? I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, I think I want to go in for. Well, wait. Let me consider this. Knight takes. Maybe just knight takes c4. Or bishop takes c4. Pawn takes. And then knight to d5. Attacking c4. And threatening knight to c7. This is tough. Not sure what to do. b3 takes one of these two on d5. Knight takes d5, knight takes b2, maybe queen to c2 or queen to d2. Yeah, queen to d2. That knight sure does look a little bit stranded. My queen on d2 is protected by my knight. And I am threatening this move, which has to be pretty annoying. Alright. One more check here. Queen takes d5 as a start. Queen takes d5. Knight takes b2. No. I want to play this position with the queen still on, so I'm going to opt for taking on d5 with the knight. Chewed up a lot of time there, but critical moment. Yeah. Let's go in for this. I still want to keep pressure on the knight. My queen is defended, so he's not pinned. And now how are they dealing with knight to c7? I also have... No, I don't have that. Yeah, I want to jump my knight into c7, but what if they just move their rook here? I didn't want to go to c2 because it allows deployment with an attack. This knight, whenever he moves, there's this punch thrown at this guy. I can't go here because, he's not defended anymore. Knight to d4 would cut off the coordination between bishop and knight, but also between my queen and knight. Oh, if the rook goes here, sidestepping this little fork, then I do have knight to e5. Yeah, I have a couple connection squares here. Both of these knight jumps are defended or supported by my bishop. And for a moment I was thinking, oh, maybe this rook moves. No, this rook can't go there. So this is a difficult moment for black. What to do to sidestep the fork? They want to deploy the bishop, but I don't believe they could do that. He just jumps in there. Rook to f8. Knight to e5. Yeah, and then this knight has to run away. And when he does, then this rook will be... What? What am I missing here? They're just going to give up the exchange. Maybe they get a pawn for it. Well, they would have two connected passers on the queen side, but okay, I think right around here I have to jump in to c7. It's just hitting everything. Yeah, their rook may end up... I think I just have to jump in here. We'll see. See what happens. They are in bullet mode now. Okay. Gotta get the queenie back. There's no fancy checks I could throw in there. Okay. Well, here's another thing. When I take this rook, I'm on this guy. Takes here. I could always take here first to get out of this. Okay. I think this is where I simply grab the material, so that rook's a goner. And yeah, this guy may turn out to be a nightmare in a way. Even without the queens on the board, I was speaking earlier. With the queens on the board, rook takes knight, knight takes bishop, rook takes bishop, knight takes knight. We got a check. We got another check. Knifing in, controlling these the flight square, the only flight square for black. The knight on b2 would be defended with the rook on my second. So, here we are. Maybe I just want to take here first. What's the body count? If I take this knight, they have to take with the pawn first. They just have to recapture. If I do this, the knight recaptures, they save their kingside structure, and then I'm having to deal with this threat against my bishop. I think I just take the knight right now. Let's just double check. Bishop takes knight. I don't see anything other than the recapture, and then I take here. They gotta take here. I could insert this check. They could block. I could take the knight. The rook recaptures. Then I could go here, force off the rooks, and just be up a clear exchange. If they avoid the rook exchange, then I'm winning b2. I could deal with one pass pawn 2. Maybe a bit of a different story. Let's take out the knight. And we're going to take this guy. Anything better than bishop check and giving up the bishop and getting rid of this guy, rook to b1. Let's start with this check. See how they react. Just a king move. Moving forward, Don't have to take the knight. But if I go here right now, the knight moves and throws a punch at my bishop, one way or the other. I think I just want to get rid of him. Now in this endgame, the bishop's going to be pretty strong, but let's give it a shot here. Actually, what about the bishop here? Does that do anything? Bishop here, rook here, and then do this. I think I want to just make it really simple. So, yeah, they're going to have a tough guy here on e6. Let's start with this. They should keep the rook on, so there we go. And now I want to get behind this pawn. I don't want him to get too far advanced. I definitely don't want him to get here. That's just way too far advanced. Now, right around this point, what I'm thinking is give up my rook for this bishop and this outside pass pawn. Invest a little bit of material and then end up with a healthy 4 versus 3 on the king side. I think that's my best bet. For starters, what do we do here? I think I just go right behind the pawn. Let's get there. And I'm not sure what file's best. I'm going to go with this one. The bishop isn't controlling these three, and yeah, I think this is fine. Yeah, these rooks can be pinning the bishop or pawn in some way. They could cause some trouble to the king functioning on these adjacent ranks. Okay. Well, don't want to do this. I'm dropping f2. Could insert a check. Let's start with this check. Don't know if it's best. I'm hesitant to move this because of this bishop move. Okay, I think for starters, I think I just want to make sure that that bishop doesn't go any further. This is another move I want to kind of weigh. h4, h4, and then I have a home here. h4, push, here, check, and then the pawn gets here. Let's just make sure this pawn doesn't even get here successfully. This might be a little bit annoying for me. Okay, well, I got what I want. Like, I could sack here. I think this is what I'm going to go for. Yeah, I think I have to do that. He's just way too good of a bishop. So I'm going to try this. Being up a pawn in a perfect structure. He belongs here. So let's see if I could try to win this. He belongs here. Maybe not. Let's improve the king. He can't go here anyhow. Playing fast. Alright, he's going to go here. He belongs here. And now that move, huh? I should offer a rook exchange. I need to do this. Put my rook on f2. So that I could inch my king up a little bit more. This pawn controls these two, so in a way it's like a 3 versus 1. Let's just get over here. Yeah, this is not so easy to win, right? I could try this and then a push. Playing very fast. That might be a bit of a mistake. Let's see if they give this check. That's a losing move, I'm pretty sure now. So I'm getting this with check. And now I could sneak up here. There's no fancy stalemates. Offer a rook exchange. They're just down on time. But this is a one endgame. Good game. Yeah, I think I needed to do it how I did with sacking the rook for the bishop and outside passer. There was just too good of coordination going on. You know, he's protecting this guy. Look at the base points. He's just way too good, and I don't know. These rooks also do not like to, be defending against a silly little pawn push. And I do not want to allow him to get to a2. So, I don't know. I think my conversion was fine. To be honest, I don't know if this is really winning. I mean, the final position was, but right around here, if they don't allow this little push right here with e5, So when I did this, I was just testing to see if they gave the check. And I was going to return and then come up with something else. But they can also just kind of get out of this pin right now. I was saying also that this one pawn restricts these two, but I don't know. If I'm ever doing this, then that's not the story anymore. They get to undouble, and I don't know. The presence of their h-pawn, their remaining h-pawn is felt, and he holds up my pawns. So I'm not quite sure really how to move forward if, I think there's definitely a way that black could have put up better resistance in this endgame, backing up, and I'm not sure what I do. I could try to sneak up here with my king, but the rook is always in a position to maybe question my king. I'm not sure. It seems it's not completely clear to me, as you could probably tell. So, yeah. But before going into the analysis, what more to add? I think I could have replied in a better way to this e5 move, maybe capturing away and then trying for a reposition. That's the strictly positional way to approach it, just playing against the isolated pawn. That's where the knight would belong. Difficult to challenge him, only one piece around that could. And even if that comes about, where the knights are exchanged, the dark square bishops are exchanged, and I get the knight to d4, even if he is exchanged, there's the queen who could take up a really nice post on d4. So I think overall this middle game plan with e5 in this exchange Slav really isn't something that's so good for black plan-wise, some kind of pawn break. I think this mentioned move bishop f5 is better, a better plan, keying in then on the e5 square and solving the bad bishop problem, just making sure he's out and about. Let's dive into the analysis board, and let me request a computer analysis and see what it has to say. Cycling through here, running a couple engines, or excuse me, a couple lines. Stockfish 8, one engine, 2 lines. Yeah, so I don't know. I was pointing out all these different moves. I don't know that the order really matters so much. Yeah, h3, knight f3. Yeah, I played h3. Just avoiding any imbalance, I don't want to give up. This is my bad bishop, but still, I don't want to give up the knight for bishop. Yeah, just a hair of an advantage. So this point right here. Now, it doesn't suggest this bishop f5 move, but I can't imagine that it's, it's something you could definitely do. Takes. +1 is, yeah, now, okay, so this idea of g4 is really something. Well, they played rook to e8, and then I castled, and then maybe bishop here is a different story, because it won't be suggesting g4 right now. So this is maybe something a little bit different to make this, I don't know, it's a bit of a passing move, like faking that you're going to play for e5, and you just want me to first castle, so you can play bishop f5 and have no fear of the exchange, and then g4. Suggesting bishop f5 here. Yeah, after castles, it likes bishop f5 now. So doing it one move sooner while I'm not castled. So this is interesting to know. I just want to look at this a hair. So it does not want to take here. This is just too much of play. Knight takes g4, and it likes knight to g5. Knight h7 are hit. Yeah, this is probably approaching a winning advantage. Suggests queen to d7. What's probably pretty human-like is to get the knight out of the line of fire and defend h7. But now queen c2 insisting. h6. And now here. Wow. That's some pretty direct stuff, looking to chop off the knight and then queen h7 ball game. So clearly there can be an attack that springs about right away. Earlier, when I said I played h3, it was to preserve my bishop, and that is clearly the primary function behind h3. A secondary function, we're clearly seeing a line here where if they try to deploy the bishop outside the pawn chain, at this moment right here, well, maybe there's an additional justification behind h3. It's supporting g4, trying to go after the king. They're without the g-pawn. They have a greater grip over e4, but no g-pawn, a slightly weakened king position because of this capture. Something additional, a secondary reason behind h3. So, what is the graph saying? Okay, that's where we stand. Inaccuracies, mistakes, and blunders for each of us. Let's see. Middle game position, e5. Yeah, so I just don't think that this is the right idea to go in for e5. That bishop f5 move is better. It does like bishop to e2 here. I thought knight to e5 first, but it does like bishop e2 as a top move. Now knight to c4. It likes the reply knight takes d5, knight takes b2, queen to d2. Just wanted to stay off of light squares, pretty much. Go to b3 or c2, I'm getting hit by the bishop, so queen d2. And yeah, so I guess this is just a winning advantage now. It felt like it was, well, I don't know that I felt that it was winning at this point with bishop to e2, but after knight to c4, I think I was voicing that it felt like there's some killer continuation. Where are we at on the graph? So plus 2.6, and well, that drops down quite a bit at some point. Only about a pawn advantage, and then yeah, so it does drop off some around move 30. So I guess I played it all right for a little bit here, going in for this fork, and there really isn't a great suggestion coming up, or computer's not coming up with a good suggestion here for black. No great continuations. I played bishop e6, knight c7. What are the alternatives? This, I thought knight to e5. Oh. Okay, that's an okay move as well, but bishop to c7, queen d7. Look at this little finesse. What's that about? I'm just picking up the knight. And now queen to d4? I don't have to look any further here. I mean, this is just way too back. It's a completely open position. I have there's a fianchettoed knight. There's a knight on the edge. So, and I have a good center, a rook on the open file. So there's going to be multiple ways to win from there. Multiple good lines to choose from. Queens are gone, and now, yeah, I'm just picking up the exchange, so I should come up with something different. Okay, it likes capturing. Okay, so here, it doesn't like rook to b1. Is that where there's a drop-off? No, not quite. It's still fine with this, but I guess it wants to, yeah, h4. Yeah. I didn't really have too much time to consider that. I just wanted to make sure that this guy wasn't getting to a3 too fast. But I guess there's a good way to move forward without cashing out and sacrificing the rook for the bishop and passer. So give a check. Now h4. Yeah. This is the other move I was considering, but I didn't really have time to do it. And the reason, I don't think I expressed why I would want to play h4. It's because I want to eventually have my last piece contribute in this endgame. And if black gets this in, I don't, like, how do I activate my king? This rook stays here. If I ever do this, they're taking, and my king is still cut off. So how do I get my king to the third rank is really the short summary here. If they're able to establish a pawn on h4, I will not be able to successfully get my king to the third rank, and as a result the fourth rank, etc. I can't get my king activated because of this one pawn that's now posted in my house. So that's why, given more time, I would strongly weigh this h4 move, because now I have a path forward. Just kind of making a passing move. Well, okay, that's not a good passing move. Let's just say, I don't know, whatever, rook here. I could play a move like this, or first, f3, and then I could go king h2, king to g3, and I've made some progress with my king. I get to the third rank successfully. And who knows what beyond that, maybe there's a timely, king running up here, and maybe I weave a mate, but doing this paves the way for my king activity. So it just wants to go without, it still wants to play over here. I just thought they would go here and this pawn is defended, but then I wouldn't need both of my rooks on this file. They could do some other stuff. Yeah, you know what? Now I'm seeing that there's probably a way to just win this pawn. And then I could maybe cash out and win the a4 pawn. So it wants to go with h4, king g3, and yeah, I'm gonna try to hunt this pawn down, right? Because king here, I have these checks. Yeah, so I guess I should have tried to first win the h pawn and only then returned to go ahead and sacrifice on a4. And also maybe I could still slowly inch up some with my kingside pawns before capturing the a pawn. Though maybe, in this endgame I could play it where I don't necessarily have to capture the a pawn, just keep one rook behind here, and one of my other rooks is free to do something else, form some kind of a battery on the 5th or 6th ranks, 7th rank. Okay, so that would have been a better option objectively, but I wanted to make it a little bit simple, and this isn't really a winning advantage. Okay, I guess now it is with some accurate moves. Plus 2.7, plus 3. Oh. I played h4. King to h4. Ah. I guess we're just going to go hunting here. King h4. Suppose this, we go here. Suppose that, we go here. And on this move, oh, this kind of a push. Yeah, he gets flushed really far back. And then there's something like this, pitching a pawn. Okay, that's something that really needs to be calculated well. This idea of keeping the h4 square open for a king march up the board, not just to win the pawn, but really looking to improve the king. Yeah, I put the pawn there. There will be no king h4. And yeah, in this position, okay, yeah, now it's winning. But if they didn't allow this move, I think I'm still going to struggle to show some progress. Yeah, I'm going to struggle to show that this is a win. And just have these moves, which is we're just repeating now. Okay. I'd have to come up with something else, but what are these suggestions? It's tough to find a way forward. Changing the structure with this, I could try, but I think this is just going to be a draw now. Yeah, got a little lucky there in this endgame that they allowed the e5 move. They should be able to hold this one to a draw. Yeah, they just have to watch out for this one little trick with e5. they didn't. They were down on time. And yeah, in that endgame, I guess I was a little bit too fast to give up the material. I could have squeezed out a little bit more, maybe picked up the H-pawn before going in for that exchange. Okay, well, anyhow, as usual, feel free to leave any feedback to this 15-2 game in the comment section below. Hope you're having a great day, and I will catch you soon. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.